Maybe you've read or seen some of these stories that are out about the nativity scene in the plaza in front of St. Peter's in Rome. It has generated, let me generously maybe say, a lot of discussion. There's some people that really hate it. It's hard to say so definitely from these articles and news stories, but I might say that it engenders more discussion than the actual Christmas day. One Italian, I was reading a story, and one of the locals said this. I like it because they are not traditional. So I don't know if you've seen it. John's going to try to show an image of it on the screen, but it's very modern, ceramic, larger than life-size images. And this Italian said, I like it because these are not traditional times, and we don't need traditional nativity scene. And she went on to say, it's representative of our anomalous age. It's disconcerting, but this is a disconcerting year. No, I think she's got something there. And of course, there's this astronaut in it that's getting a lot of attention as well. And having spent 13 years at Purdue, actually the astronaut is my favorite part of the nativity scene because it's Neil Armstrong, a Boilermaker. Well, my old bishop, Bishop Doherty, who was the Bishop of Lafayette, I think he would like it too because he likes these images that get people talking. Who needs another traditional nativity scene? Don't we have enough of them already? Isn't it good to have people talk about their faith and the symbols that we have that depict our beliefs? And then, of course, there's debates about other things. There's dozens, probably hundreds of scholarly articles that have been written about the astrological events or astronomical events, whether they happened or didn't. And there was an event just a few days ago. Everyone was watching. This is supposed to be something that we only see every 800 years. And is it actually a depiction of the star over Bethlehem? And then there's also articles, of course, that dispute whether there ever were magi and whether they traveled from the east to worship the Christ child. And then there are all these articles that are written trying to pinpoint Herod's reign and did a census really occur? And whether Joseph and Mary stayed in a house or a cave and what's all that supposed to mean? Well, lots of debates, but all of these debates, well, they're interesting, I think. Ultimately, they miss the point because there are other forces at work here, what we are remembering today. Whether 3 wise men actually traveled from the east to pay homage to the Christ child, whether they encountered Herod, whether they fled after being warned in a dream of Herod's true intentions, it's not as important as what message we take from the meaning of the Feast of the Epiphany. In Matthew's account, we see 2 different responses to the incarnation. One response shows individuals who are so inspired that they leave the safety and the comfort of their homes and they journey great distance. They journey in a way that defies any sort of common sense. A journey that will take them halfway across what they knew the world to be at that time, to worship this new king, this Christ child. The meaning of the birth of Christ for them is that something extraordinary has happened in their lifetime. For them, the birth of the child is an answer to long-sought questions. The journey together, and then they journey together for those answers. They are totally selfless in what they are seeking. And then there's another response. The response of Herod, so-called great, the other king of the Jewish people. What's his response to the news that these prophecies have been fulfilled? That God has come in human form to the earth? Well, Herod's response is he wants to destroy the rival. Herod's interest, his ambitions, his positions, his wealth, and keeping it is what he is utmost intent on keeping. His intentions are totally selfish. When we hear these accounts in the Bible, it's important for us to recognize that it's not merely a dramatic story, but it is something to help us in figuring out what is our relationship to God. How do we compare? The story of the three magi call each of us to examine how we are to be measured. What are we to do? Where might we be lacking? And we may well ask ourselves, are we closer to the magi or closer to Herod? And we might well ask ourselves, well, certainly not like Herod. But what is most important to us? Is it the material gain of the world, or is it putting Christ at the center of our lives? Are we willing to go against common sense and travel whatever path we need to take to get to Christ, whatever distance, however long it may take? Or are other things more important? Do we focus all of our energies on keeping what we have and getting more? Is our studies and our work and accomplishing things that will bring us material gain the most important thing in our life? Or is it Christ? Is it all about me, or is it about others? Are we on this journey for ourselves, or are we on a journey for others? It's as simple as that. These magi symbolize for us our noblest efforts. They are wise ones. They look to heaven for answers. They go in search of truth. They travel across the world in their response to the prophecy that God has become man. And they were selfless in their seeking. It is Christ they sought to put at the center of their lives. They represent a stark contrast to the self-centeredness of Herod. That is what we always try to accomplish, maybe especially this year, when we have experienced so many challenges in 2020, to look to heaven for answers, to search for the truth that we find in others. That helps us to find the truth in ourselves. What is truly important to us? Are we keeping Christ at the center of our lives? Paul speaks of the stewardship of God's grace. Each of us is called to be just that, a steward, a caretaker of the gift of God's love and light poured out in us in Christ. We are called to be that not just for ourselves, but for the benefit of others as well. So may we all continue to come to Christ to find hope, light, and peace in our lives. And may we be stewards of that grace for the benefit of others.